At the point of introduction, this Timex GMT chronograph was priced at around $220 and it received somewhat lukewarm reception from the interweb reviewers, despite having some really cool features, including ones that no other big or small for that matter brand offers on a GMT watch at this price point. Fast forward to now, and this GMT can be found for half that price, if not cheaper, and to be honest, even at $200 I thought it was interesting. So how's it looking now at half the price? Well, I bought it, and in this video we'll try to find out. Hello and welcome back. So I will start with the price. I think Ashford has the most competitive price tag on this chronograph at the time of making this video, and I will link it in the description. I will also try to add another outlet that sells this chronograph at a similar price. So if you like this 3-time zone chrono, don't wait for too long. I really don't think it will get much cheaper. So we clearly have a Timex Q series DNA here. Q series goes back in time to 1970s or so, and Timex, after testing the waters with their Q GMT Pepsi reissue a few years ago, saw how popular it was with watch collectors and enthusiasts. I believe at some point there was even a waiting list for this. The Q series really got expanded in the last few years, and to be honest, most designs are interesting and feature interesting complications, like this Traveler GMT 3-time zone chronograph. This chronograph comes in 3 colorways and 4 different configurations, with only the black dial one getting the stainless steel bracelet, and that's one that I've got here in the studio. Okay, we might as well talk about the bracelet, and to be honest, I was a bit apprehensive when getting the stainless steel bracelet version of this watch, because cheap stainless steel bracelets on cheap big brand watches like Seiko, Casio and Timex usually feel, yes, cheap. More often than not, they are made out of hollow, folded stainless steel links and usually leave much to be desired. However, I was pleasantly surprised here. We get solid end links and solid links. The integration with the case is well thought through, to the point that it almost looks like integrated bracelet, a la Tissot PRX or something. However, this bracelet is also removable, and Timex even included a quick release mechanism in the design of this bracelet. A cool little feature even at $240, let alone at half that price. The finishing is pretty decent too. We get high polished link sides for a bit of a sparkle and brushed top of the links, which should help to mask those unavoidable scratches. The links are also well finished on the inside, so the bracelet feels very comfortable on the wrist, and definitely no hair pulling here either. The links are connected by pins, and the bracelet has an elegant taper to about 16 mm by the clasp. We get a somewhat basic double pusher folding pressed clasp here. The clasp is robust and it is also signed, which is nice. No macro adjustments or half links here, however, the links are pretty short as it is, so it shouldn't be a problem to get a comfortable fit. In terms of dimensions, we get 40 mm case diameter, 11.8 mm case height, a lug-to-lug distance of 46.2 mm, and with these dimensions I can recommend this watch for pretty much most wrist sizes. And even according to Timex website, the watch on this bracelet should accommodate wrists in circumference from 15 to 20.5 centimeters, that is 5.9 to 8.1 inches. The lock openings are 18 mm, however, the bracelet flares out to about 22 mm by the case and therefore looks well proportioned and creates an illusion of organic continuations of case contours, and as applied, this watch weighs 135 grams. We do have a full stainless steel construction case here. The case shape follows Timex Q series design with combination of facets and bevels, which are mostly mirror polished, with only facets above the lugs being brushed. There are no crown guards, which goes in line with the vintage aesthetics of this chronograph. The push-pull crown features the Q logo, and it also has that black rubber grip. I kind of understand where Timex was coming from with this black rubber. It goes in line with the black and chrome color scheme of the watch, and I don't particularly dislike it. I just hope Timex used a good quality rubber here to ensure that it lasts as long as the stainless steel case. Flipping the case over, and we get a well-brushed back case, which is secured by 4 screws and features Timex signature battery hatch. We have 50 meters of water resistance declared on this watch, which according to Timex might be even suitable for light swimming, as long as we don't engage chronograph pushers in the water. No snorkeling or any kind of diving, of course. I am, however, as you probably aware, a bit more skeptical or conservative when it comes to chronographs, so I would definitely keep this one away from the water, if I can help it. We get here a flat mineral glass crystal with beveled edge. No mention of anti-reflective coating, but reflections are not much of a problem, especially for this white hands on black dial configuration. We get a black bezel with a loomed pip, which is supposed to be a nod to dive watch aesthetics of Q series, according to Timex. Okay, it kinda achieves that visually, and I think it looks pretty good. However, functionally, this bezel with 12-hour markings is there to track a third time zone on this 3-zone GMT chronograph. I couldn't find any specifics about bezel insert materials, so I assumed that it is aluminium insert. It is bidirectional rotating bezel, by the way. The resistance is good and the rotating action is surprisingly smooth and feels sort of just right, so definitely no complaints here. Okay, movement origins are a bit of a mystery, however it is a feature-packed quartz caliber which not only allows us to track 3 time zones, feature a true GMT or also so-called traveler GMT functionality, but also has a chronograph. This is an amount of complications that I don't expect from any analog display quartz movement at this price point, that's for sure. Now, the way the GMT function works is a bit specific because the red GMT hand tracks 12 hours rather than 24 hours around the dial. To determine if we are in AM or PM section of the day, we have a 24-hour sub-dial at 12 o'clock position. So, here is an example. I set my home time by putting the crown into the third position, that is all the way out. So I set my home time to 1:45 PM position, or 13:45 if you like, and now I can set the hour hand independently, like on a true or traveler GMT watch. To do that, I will pull the crown into the first position, and by turning it anti-clockwise, I will set the hour hand to track a second time zone. Now, if you want to set the date, you will need to turn the crown clockwise while still in the same first crown position. And by rotating the bezel, we can even track the third time zone if we so desire. So if you do a lot of cross time zone travel, like I did at some point in my career, this is a very useful complication that we normally see in timepieces costing at least 5 or even 10 times the price of this Timex. And to round up the sub-dial's functionality, as we already established, the sub-dial at 12 o'clock is a 24-hour indicator, the sub-dial at 6 o'clock is a running seconds indicator, and the sub-dial at 9 o'clock position is a chronograph 60-minute accumulator. Yes, of course, we also have a chronograph on this watch. Now, from aesthetics and design perspective, I think Timex did a very good job accommodating all the complications plus the date window on this dial. Yes, there is still a lot going on this dial, but it doesn't feel particularly cluttered. We have an applied angled rehaut with printed manufacturing on the perimeter. The dial background is done in rich matte black color, which really helps to emphasize the high polished applied hour indices and hands, and of course the applied Q series logo. The sub-dials are slightly recessed, further underlining the three-dimensional design of this dial. And we have a date window tucked away between 4 and 5 o'clock. The date window is about the same size as applied hour indices, so it kinda gets lost among other features on the dial. However, the date is still perfectly legible. And here is the lume. Not bad at the start, but fades pretty quickly, and yes, definitely not the strongest feature of this watch. Right, so my verdict. Well, there are a few niggles that I need to summarize before sharing my verdict. Nothing major in my view, but important to know before buying this watch nevertheless. So first, the chrono pushes. While providing more or less sensible feedback at the start and reset of the chronograph, we get very little, if any, tactile feedback for the interim stops and starts. So we need to look at the chronograph secondhand to ensure that we stopped or restarted the timer. Another slight irregularity, if you like, is the date window position. If you look at it carefully, you probably will notice that it is slightly closer to 5 o'clock index than it is to the 4 o'clock one. Why? Well, only Timex designers will know, I guess. I'm just happy that the date window is so small that it is hardly noticeable, and, well, that's about it. Of course, I could include in this list the absence of sapphire or aluminum bezel insert rather than ceramic, but taking into account the price point of around $100, it hardly seems fair, especially from a well-established brand like Timex. For comparison, we need to climb above $500 mark to get sapphire on Seiko, and I'm not even mentioning Casio here. So, as for my verdict, well, for the current price point of between $100 and $140, I think it is a brilliant travel companion that can track 3 time zones and do it with vintage charm and style, and not least importantly, well on the budget. What are your thoughts? Well, do let us know in the comments. And of course, don't forget to do all those important YouTube things like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching, take care, and I will see you in the next video.